Hey everybody, how you doing? Appreciate you stopping in. In the channel is Charlie from Travels with Charlie Hub.
Hi.
You're living in Sweden. Hey Paul, how you doing? Y'all can ask us any kind of questions you want, and we'll both try to answer them. Charlie is a retired New York City firefighter, and he lives in Bangkok. And we might even have Greenie from Greenie's Travel checking in with us today. I don't know. He was trying to figure out how to do it, and we'll see if we can't get him in. But ask us anything you want to know about Thailand. We were sitting here talking about the weather. We've had a lot of rain, and you've had a lot of flooding down there, haven't you?
Yeah, it was pretty bad here. There was the three spaces in particular: Sukhumvit Road, Ramkhan Hang, and one other part down near Samat Prakan. They were like lakes. It was really pretty bad. Yeah.
We haven't had any flooding here. Right where I live, we haven't had any at all. Now, the Muban just south of us has had a lot of flooding, and some flooding in the city. But I understand south of Chiang Mai and some of the other districts, they've had a lot of flooding, and a lot of people's houses are, have been they've been displaced. They've had to move out of their houses, so it's pretty bad. But so far here, we've got good drainage here, so I'm not concerned about it. What about where you live?
Well, you have to remember Bangkok, when it was Krung Thep Mahanakhon back in the day, was chosen because it was good for rice farms. It's part of river delta, so it's
No,
really
I'm not going.
you know.
I'm
And then
not
they
going to be
built
another tiger.
and they built this
Oh
great big giant city on it, and and it
no.
floods. I've been here 6 years. It floods every year, but this last one 2 days ago was the worst I've seen.
What's the weather like in Sweden, Paul? Well, hopefully, the thing about it that I like about the rain here is that it cleans the air up. We've got the best air that we've had in God knows how long. Um, it's finally come to the point where I can turn my air cleaners off and open up the windows and get some fresh air in here. And that's one of the things that anybody considering moving to Chiang Mai, you have to understand that there's 3 months out of the year that are just absolutely horrible. This last year it wasn't so bad, but the years before, you had to wear a mask to get out. Hello there. Thanks for stopping in. Um, but this year's not been too bad. I don't know whether they've kind of had a crackdown on them burning the rice fields. I saw a lot of rice fields this year that were plowed rather than burned. And, in the previous years, they just put a match to them and off they'd go. And, your house would be filled up with smoke. You'd have to close your windows. But this year, it wasn't so bad. But we still had some smoke. And,
Hey, smoke is my life. The one of the things that always gets me is if you go on media of any kind, you see stories about environmental issues, and well, I don't want to turn this into a kind of political conversation. It's like, to me, if they were taking environmental issues seriously, they would be looking at the fact that there are probably somewhere between 2 and 3 billion people in Southern Asia that set their farms on fire every year. And because it's pretty bad. It can get kind of bad here, but I've seen it in places where it's far worse, like Sumatra. I was in Singapore, which is close to Sumatra, and Singapore gets covered in smoke, and I'm told by people who know about that stuff is that it's worse there because they're burning palm oil plants, and apparently that makes more smoke. But over the years, I've learned more about it, and from India to the eastern end of Indonesia, you set all these fires and they burn their crops every year, after the rainy season, and anything else that they don't want. That's their garbage disposal. Yeah. And it fills the entire southeast quarter of the globe with smoke. If you really want to get serious about environmental issues, I'd like to see them talk about that because there's a solution to that, and it's farm machinery. Show them how to
Uh-oh, I lost the camera here. Bear with me
im-
here.
im- imaging edge webcam. It says.
We had to switch cameras. Oh, well, you get a side view of me now. Can you see me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to have to put up with a side view now. I'll have to look in the other direction. I think my Sony camera went bad. Oh, Greenie needs a new link.
Yeah, get Greenie in here. Greenie's a retired cop also, so you have to even up the score and get 2 cops for 1 fireman here. That's making an even fight.
Oh, Lordy. Let me see how I'm going to do that. Hold the fort here while I get Greenie in here.
In my job description, back when I was a lieutenant in the fire department, part of my job description was to annoy the police. That was built into our that was built into our job description. Truth is, they responded to everything we did, and whenever people would come and ask me questions, I'd send them to the cops unless they were on fire. I didn't want to deal with them. Yeah, the Buddy Show. Burning happened in Bali as well, all across Indonesia, buddy. It's like it's one of the most populated, I think the 3rd most populated country in the world. I'm guessing on that, but there's a lot of people in those thousands of islands that make up Indonesia. And yeah, they set their farms on fire every year. I think India is the worst from what I've looked at. If places like New Delhi become really terrible. And Beijing seems to have cleaned up their act a little bit, but a decade ago, Beijing used to get covered in smoke every year as well. And the news articles would all talk about industrial pollution. And while that may be a factor, I'm not an expert on this. I'm certain that that the smoke primarily came from crop burning and garbage burning. It's a problem nobody talks about, not in the Western media anyway. So if you want to get serious about environmental issues, tackle that one.
Let's see what we got here. Okay, I think I got Greenie straightened out now.
I can see Uncle D just said, I can talk about it all you want, but they're not going to do jack about it. And he's right. I landed in Singapore in 2010. And, it was my first trip to Asia. And I spent 4 years in Singapore. And in the dry season, Singapore became covered in smoke. And I was like really appalled by it. It was like, Singapore was kind of a nice city, right? Now all of a sudden it's covered with smoke. And I was like, man, they should do something about that. And all the headlines in the newspapers and on TV and all the media were talking about all the things that the Singapore government and the Indonesian government were talking about to solve this problem. And I was like, wow, at least they're looking to solve the problem. And I said that to somebody who lived in Singapore, and they laughed at me. They said, yeah, they say that every year and nobody does anything. So yeah, you're right. Nobody takes an issue with it. And part of the problem is, the argument from the farmers is, well, this is the traditional way that we do things. And I'm all for traditions unless it's, unless there's a better way to do things.
With Greenie here.
And I think there is. Hey, Greenie. Oh, I think he just left.
Just shows GoPro. He's having technical difficulties.
Yeah, the burning thing started ages ago. It's an ancient practice. As long as they've been farming, that's how they've been clearing crops afterwards. As they've been, setting the stubble on fire. Is my understanding of it. So it's something ingrained in cultures that's hard to make go away. But that's the job of government. I mean, if you want to do something worthwhile, educate and supply your people with the proper equipment to do it a smarter way.
Yeah, well,
when they make me king,
they're gonna have to crack down on it because it's it's keeping people from keeping people from, coming here. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is.
So yeah, Toby, the smoke in Singapore does indeed come from Indonesia and Malaysia, mostly from Jakarta, which is if you're a good swimmer, you could swim to Jakarta from from Singapore. And I was just saying earlier, I'm told it's because of the palm oil plants that they set fire to.
I don't know. Until they do something, it's they're always going to have that problem, and it's going to keep people. A bit of volume mismatch. Charlie is much louder than Bill. Let me get a little bit closer to the microphone. How's that? Is that any better?
That's much better. Yeah.
Okay. Or I'll point it towards me. I've got it set off a little bit, and I can turn it up some too. There you go. Is that any better? Is that better?
Yeah, that's a little better.
Okay, good. I don't know. It's definitely, it costs them 3 months out of the year. People don't want to come here. So,
Sure.
Either they have to figure it out, and great, thank you. Until they figure it out, from November until, the 1st of April, people aren't going to want to come here. That's just.
Hey, Jeff, another factor in this, other than the microphones, is I'm a big mouth guy from Brooklyn, and Bill is kind of one of those soft-spoken Southern fellows.
That's funny.
That's the truth. I tend to shout.
Oh, Lord. Does anybody get any questions for us that you'd like for us to answer? We're all ears. I think Greeny checked out. He's going to check back in. Looked like he was trying to log on his GoPro, but his GoPro wasn't coming through on the screen. I got his face up, not his face, but his unit in here, but I didn't get any picture out of him, so he left again. So we'll see what happens. But I went up into the city today, and it was nice. I was riding around. There were a lot of people up there. Just a lot of people moving around. Hey, Crypto Chris, how you doing? Appreciate you stopping in. So it's hard to tell. I keep saying before Chiang Mai will recover 100%, it'll be 10 years. As far as the tourism is concerned, I don't know. Now, what are you seeing in Bangkok as far as the tourism?
There's been a slight. It's better than it was a year ago, obviously, but it's not taking off now. It's the rainy season. We're talking about the floods, so perhaps.
Thank you, Sanders, for the super sticker. Thank you.
So I think that in November that will tell once the rainy season is over, and the tourist season generally is thought to start in mid-November, and we'll see what happens then. Right now, I'm seeing a lot of Indians and a lot of Saudis. Apparently, the government, the Thai government, made some kind of I don't know. The Saudis and the Thais hadn't been talking for several decades. Yeah. I don't know why, some political thing that I'm not familiar with, but they fixed that recently, and they made a trade agreement and other things. And Saudis are showing up here. I see, and I was at an Indian restaurant a couple of nights ago, very nice place on Soy 22, I think it was, top of a hotel, a nice view and all. And the place was crowded. It was a really nice Indian place, and it was really crowded. And they were all Indian. And it was crowded with Indians. And so there, that's where I'm seeing an increase. Now, I don't go down to tourist areas all that often, maybe once a week, so I'm not really the best person to tell you. My sense of it, though, I was in Pattaya about a week or two ago, and that's picked up. I mean, it's better than it was. It's not back to full steam ahead yet. And I hear Phuket is starting to see some increase in traffic as well. Yeah. So my general sense of things is that it's improving, but it's no way near what it once was. Yeah.
Toby asks, why are all the criminals in your stories from the U.S.? Well, they're not really. I've got there's a couple in there there's actually one from Great Britain. I'm not picking on Americans. I feel I have a right to do that because I'm an American, but there are others too that are committing crimes. There's a guy from Lithuania that just murdered a lady boy down in Isan, and I may do a story on that. I can't really do a story on that right now because he hasn't been convicted, and it's just accusations. But I'll pick on any foreigner that breaks the law here. That's talkable. I don't. I'm not gonna be picky about who I make stories about. It's just I feel like if it's an American, then I'm an American, and I think I've got a better right to call out Americans than I do people from other countries. But I mean, Americans are not the only ones committing crimes here. But that's the way it is. The guy that, and not only the guys that stole the watch, but the one that murdered the girl in Bangkok, the one from Nana Plaza, he wasn't American. So, I pick them as they come. I think we got another question. Is there any consumer product you miss from the West that you can't get in Chiang Mai? Yes. There's two things that I can tell you that I miss. One is a good T-bone steak, and the other is Nilla wafers. I cannot find Nilla wafers here for anything. We've looked and we've looked and we've looked. My wife wants to make banana pudding, and she can't make them without Nilla wafers. So those are the things that I miss. Other than that, nah. I did have a problem with my chewing tobacco. I couldn't get the right chewing tobacco here for a long time. And then a guy started a shop up in Chiang Mai, and he makes great stuff. And other than that, that's about it.
Nacho chips.
I'm torn between renting a condo or a villa for a 9-month trip. Torn between renting a condo or a villa for a 9-month trip with my wife and 1-year-old baby. Know any potential factors I might have overlooked? No, really, that would be a good idea for you. There are other things that you could do. Is you could probably find somebody that would rent you a house. There's plenty of houses in the Mubon that I live in, and some of the other Mubons that would rent you a house. Probably a lot cheaper than you could rent a condo. We found that most of the condos go for 15 to 20,000 baht a month, whereas a house you can get a good 2-bedroom house. Here comes Greenie. 2-bedroom house here for 8,000 baht a month. So there's a lot of different things to look at, and the thing to do is get up here and get a hotel room first, and then go out and look around and find the area that you want to live in. That's pretty much what we did when we came here. But a condo is not bad, but I think you would be better off looking for a house. I think you'd get much more for your money. I'm going to get Greenie on in here. There he is. Welcome. Just for y'all information, Greenie has a channel called Greenie Travels, and he lives down in Phuket. No, you live in Pattaya.
Bang Saray, like a half hour south of.
Yeah. And now Greenie, you just bought a condo.
Yeah,
not
about
too
a
long
year
ago.
Yeah, about a year and a half ago.
What areas of Thailand would I like to travel to? Well, I enjoy going to Krabi. I enjoy hitting the islands. Matter of fact, we just came off an island, and then next month we're going to another island. I like traveling in the south. I like going to Bangkok. I like going to Phuket, Krabi, Samui, different places like that. There's still places that I haven't seen yet, and I'm going to make sure that I get to all of them before my time's up. But there's so many places to see here. It's hard to name just one. One of my favorite places to go is Koh Gu, and it's a beautiful island down in the south. It's about a 2-hour ferry ride, but once you get there, you pretty much got the whole place to yourself. There's a lot of places to go here and a lot of things to see.
You can kind of section Thailand into three sections: the southern beaches, the islands around the southern beaches, Then there's Bangkok, which is in the middle if you're looking at it from bottom to top. Bangkok is big city life. It's a nice city. I like it. And then, of course, up in Chiang Mai is the mountains. And in between Chiang Mai and Bangkok, if you like farms and quiet, there's plenty of that in between. There's a lot of flat land in between. But, that's what you have to choose from, those three basic things, mountains, city, or beaches. And they do all three very well. It's very nice.
It says before the pandemic, the Chinese started to flood Chiang Mai. Heard from locals that they hated the Chinese tourists. Well, that's yes and no. They love their money. Let's put it that way. And well, you're really staring at me there, Greenie. They love their money. Let's put it that way. We as people who live here, we find it a lot easier to get around town, a lot easier to go out to eat since COVID. So, it's neither here nor there, but there are a lot of people suffering because the Chinese tourists aren't here. I'll give you, for instance, when we went to Pattaya, we stayed in a hotel, and we checked in, and the lady behind the counter, she goes, I'm going to put you up on the 6th floor. And I said, okay, because we wanted a lower floor. And she said the reason she did it was because the first 2 floors were full of Chinese. And she said it would be better for us to be up there. So, but I've never had any issues with them per se. But as far as the locals here, I think they would like to see them back. And that's basically because the Chinese poured a lot of money into Chiang Mai. And that's about the best I can tell you on that one.
In Pattaya, part of the problem, the big complaint prior to COVID was the tour buses. They would be the tours would be arranged by Chinese businessmen who would then take their tour buses to all Chinese-owned businesses. So that was the major complaint, was that they weren't spending their money in the general city. And the officials, the Thai officials, took issue with that, and they solved it. So the newspaper said they came to some agreements on that, and then COVID happens, and China is still closed right now.
I'll tell you what. There's we're near this little town called Banampur, and there's these seafood restaurants right on the water, and I haven't seen this in so long, but 7 tour buses came and unloaded people. And I didn't see the people that got off. I just saw the tour buses stopped in the middle of the road, and I had to wait. And then they pulled off the Sukhumvit Road and parked like in a construction zone, like off to the side. But I had heard that they're starting to come back. A friend in Bangkok told me he had seen some groups. So
yeah, we haven't seen any up here.
Yeah. And Kev had a question. CA 1954 about the advantages of buying versus renting. And so Charlie rents, I bought, and it's just personal preference. I mean, I was 54 when I bought the condo, so I figured, okay, I'm gonna probably hang around here at least half the year, maybe more, till I'm 65, at least till Medicare or Medicaid, whatever it's called, kicks in America. And I've just accumulated a lot of stuff already, and I just like to have my own place.
Easy to do. Very easy to do.
And a lot of people are like, well, you'll lose money and this and that, and you can't travel. I'll still travel if I want to go somewhere, 3, 4, 5 days a month. I'll just still go. It doesn't matter. I figure if I have this for 10 years and get my money back out of it, I'm way ahead. I didn't pay rent. Recently, they're going to list a unit exact same as mine, 1 floor lower, much worse view of the sea, and they're listing theirs for $1 million baht more than what I paid a year and a half for. But obviously, the baht has changed. It's not worth as much as it was then. But it's about, so they're listing there's about 12,000 more than what I paid. In a year and a half, and there's no vacancies here. That's going to be the first one for sale in a while in my whole unit, in my whole complex. So, it's just personal preference, and either you have the money or you don't. And I just, wanted to put my money somewhere instead of just leaving it in the bank, and I just bought it.
I heard Aussie John was coming back to Chiang Mai in a week. Adam's Apple is throwing a welcome back party. I don't know who Aussie John is. I've never heard of him, so I don't know. I haven't heard that. Ah, well, are we back? Let's see. We're trying to run down these questions. Chiang Mai years ago. Red dust felt good. We'll do it again. Caught the train with a lady from Pattaya to Chiang Mai. Charlie loves the trains. I'm not a big train fan. I don't. I spent 19 hours when I moved here on the train getting up here, and I wasn't a happy camper when I got here. Let's see. It would be best to narrow down. Yeah, that's true anywhere. You know, if you're going to move anywhere in Thailand, it's best to narrow it down to an area that you're happy with. When we moved here, we didn't do that. We looked around and we just picked this place, and we were very, very lucky to get where we are, where we're close to the market, close to the hospital, close to the police station. You know, if I didn't have a car, I could walk everywhere I needed to go. And that's very important to be around the things that you need. Let's see.
Yeah, that's the opposite.
They do have a lot of Western food. It's a little bit more expensive, but you know, you can pretty much find what you want at Rimping. One question I'd just like to mention, please. Frank Fraser Payne, hello, how are you? There's your mention, buddy. Oh. Okay, I've already got that one. I'm trying to go down through these as much as I can. I'm going to miss the longer beers. I used to visit Germany when I was, okay.
We have a couple of German beer houses here.
Hey, Walkabout Wayne. Walkabout Wayne's with us. Hello, Wayne. Wayne's got a channel called Walkabout Wayne. Great channel. The guy puts out some good content. Somebody saying hi.
I saw one of his videos before. Hello.
Yeah,
hey,
he's
Ken.
funny.
I saw that a while ago. I responded a while back.
Okay, you answered this one, Wayne, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I jumped ahead of you. Okay, I didn't know. I'm reading. I was looking on the messages on the side. You're punching them all up. I got you. Okay.
Which is, if you're a foreigner, will you marry a Thai? You can marry anybody you want to over here. You know, I'm married to a Thai lady 18 years. I enjoy it. It's good life. Greenie's just got married, what? How long ago did you get married?
The end of May.
About a month or two ago?
Yeah, going on 2 months here.
Yeah.
Feels like 2 years.
Short
But
distance from home, could wish for more.
What I loved about Greenie's wedding is that he went on his honeymoon with some guy from Canada to the Philippines without his wife. I thought, my God.
Her nail shop was too new to leave. She couldn't leave yet, but we have something booked next month for Vietnam. We're going to Da Nang, so
Yeah, I like that.
she gets some.
You had. Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't. She couldn't leave. She can't.
Please, if you are a foreigner and you marry a Thai who work for the government like a teacher, or yes, I understand that if they work for the government, you can get under the health plan. That's what I've been told. I don't know of anybody that's done that, but if you marry a foreigner or marry a Thai that works for like a teacher, hospital, any government employee, then you can get, as a husband, you can get covered under their medical care. That's my understanding. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Chinese have come back, are either government connected somehow or not planning to return. That's very true. That's what I understand too. They're kind of boxed in over there right now. I think they were here before COVID hit or came and were able to get in. And a lot of them own property now or renting houses and stuff like that. And, you know, we don't really have any issues with that. Anyone drink at the Red Lion or Down and Under pubs? How are they going? Red Lion is still open. Down and Under, I don't know. I went by the Red Lion the other day and there were quite a few people in there eating. But Down and Under pubs, I'm not really sure of.
I had some red.
Good morning.
Red.
Let's see. If China arrange all the tour events, it transfers and take those to the free range sovereign store and restaurant. Yes, that's exactly what happens. And there was a big problem with that because the Thai people were not you know, they weren't getting any money out of the tour guides or the, you know, running the tour shows. So I don't know if they've stopped that or if they're going to stop it or what the deal was, but none of the money really was coming into Thailand, and that was a big problem. That's why the Chinese tour groups hardly shop outside. Yeah, you're probably right. Chris. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Thanks for stopping in, man. One of these days, I'm going to check out your restaurant when I get down that way. I'm not much for vegetarian food, but at least I want to stop in and say hello.
I am. I get gout. Best way to cure gout is eat vegetarian. It's true.
I got to have my meat.
Yeah, I miss it too.
But a condo seems like it'd be easier and less effort. Yeah, that's very true. I was looking. You'll be happy in Hangdong. I've like I said, I've lived here for 12 years. I moved away from here, and I moved down by the beaches for 3 months, and I couldn't get back here fast enough. Hangdong is a great place to live. Hey, Natalie, how you doing? Thank you. I appreciate that. I try to be straight up front and tell you like it is, and these other two guys are the same way.
Yeah, tell them we just made this format up about 10 minutes ago.
You know, we try not to, we're not pushing bull crap to get views or anything like that. I try to tell.
We're all retired with a hobby, and this is the hobby.
two cops and a fireman. If y'all ever want to have some fun, watch our video where the three of us got together up here in Chiang Mai, and we went up the mountain and went down in a cave, and then we went up to the Hmong village, had a great time. Recently, Thailand has been pushing medical insurance, and I know that after 70, it's difficult to get. So what are you guys going to do when you reach 70? Well, for me, I'm not required to have insurance. I do have insurance. I believe, Charlie, you've got insurance. I know, Greenie, you've got it. After 70, you know, you're just going to have to pay a little bit higher of a premium. But I think at some point in time that they're going to, that's going to be reasonable. And there'll be companies in Thailand that will sell people over 70. Go ahead.
So I'm going to take that as a compliment because I'm 72, and when you reach 70, it's 2 years behind me, and I have medical insurance that I bought with a company called AXA. Now I'm not endorsing them because I've never made a claim with them, so I don't know how good they are on that end. But they put together a pretty good package for me with a high deductible because, you know, regular medical care here is so cheap. I don't care about insuring it. So I think I have a $5,000 deductible, you know, in case I have an accident or something. And you know, I'll eat the first $5,000 myself. And it costs $840 a year, which is, you know, and by American standards, that's peanuts. You know, so there is, you know, and there was no medical exams or anything else like that involved. So insurance is available here at reasonable prices. At least I found that. The only reason I got it is because I was back in the States, I guess about a year ago. And in order to get back into Thailand at the time, they required that you had to have insurance to get back in. So that's why I looked into it. Prior to that, I was just self-insured because I have the Medicare Part B or whatever the hell it is back in the States. And I figured if I needed anything serious, I'd just go back to the States and get, I have places I could stay there. But yeah, you know, I found out, fortunately, that it isn't available and it's not terribly expensive. So there are other companies too. I just mentioned AXA because that's what I have.
Yeah, if you're going to go with the high deductible, you can definitely get something very reasonable if you're not worried about, you know, I had looked into different insurances when I thought I had to have it too to come back in, and then they, you know, kept changing things, so I didn't need it. But I looked into a bunch of different premiums and policies and everything, and yeah, they got me kind of scared. And you know, once you get past 65, that the rates just go up and up and up. But you know, if you go with a high deductible, you can get something reasonable.
Thank you.
I have a bug.
Now, I'm not blowing your guys' ears out or nothing with this mic, am I? Is it loud? Or does it sound
no,
normal?
no, you're fine. He owns a restaurant called Alice's Restaurant. It's, I believe it's down on LaCroix. There are a lot of vegetarian restaurants here. You won't have any problem finding it, but he has a good restaurant there on LaCroix Road. I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe he does.
A really great vegetarian restaurant in Bangkok on Sukhumvit Road is Broccoli Revolution, and they're not too expensive, and they're really very good. And of course, there's dozens of Indian places. Northern Indian food is all vegetarian.
Well, we're all caught up on the questions.
Yeah,
I
it's
think,
totally.
unless I missed him. I'll go back up to the beginning again. But, some of the things that I try to tell people, they're going to retire here, there are some things that are irritating. There are some things that you strain to do. But for the most part, I love living here. I know you guys do too. Or I guess if we didn't love living here, we wouldn't be here. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, last time I went home, I booked it for 5 weeks. After 3 weeks, I was just ready to come back to Thailand. Just the fresh food, the weather, the atmospheres, not hearing all about the politics and everything. I'm just in my own little world here, my own little bubble.
Yeah. Another one.
I had the same thing happen when I first landed in Asia. Again, when it was 2010, I came on a work contract to Singapore. I didn't like it when I first got there. It was hot. It rained every day. It was difficult to get around. And I was like, oh, man, I made a 4-month commitment. This might have been a mistake. And here I am, how many years later, I'm still in Asia. Once you get used to the different things that are difficult. I mean, there's problems anywhere. No place is nirvana. Nothing's perfect.
Yeah.
But it's just it's an easier way of life. I think is the best way to put it.
For me, it is. I mean,
it's a lot less stress.
Yeah. I'm like you, Greenie. I went back in 2014, and I went back for 2 weeks. And I got off the plane in Chattanooga, and I had to drive 20 miles home. And I got in the center of the city, and it was just like anxiety.
Yes.
I went to the hotel, and I got Leck on the computer. I said, I want to come home. She goes, well, you just stay another 2 weeks. And it took me about 4 or 5 days to get rid of the anxiety, but I couldn't get home fast enough, and I just I wanted to be back home to my house. I enjoyed seeing everybody and stuff, but I was ready to come.
Yeah, I was ready to go in September for a few weeks, but I pushed it back. I think I'm going to try to go like next May.
Yeah,
I'm just not ready to go back yet.
Charlie's been back. You've been back to New York twice since COVID.
In the past year, yeah. I like to go twice a year, but of course, COVID put a stop to that.
Leery of traveling.
But in the past,
at the moment, it's not crowded. There are tourists here, but it's in no way crowded. It's nothing like what it used to be. The shops are not crowded. The streets are not crowded, but there are a few tourists here, yes.
I would say, though, I'm like echoing here. For the off season, for the rainy season, I'm just echoing in my ear. Hold on.
Since I recently moved Hang Dong to St. Carol Province, almost Cambodia, I much prefer Hang Dong. I'd often pass your move on the way to the market. Yeah. Isn't it nice up here? I mean, obviously, the Mubon that I live in, and, it's just, I prefer it. I mean, I couldn't think of living anyplace else. And I'm sure you're a little bit homesick. I think our paths crossed at Moto Bistro, maybe. Did you ever hear a guy play and sing country and western at the Moto? That was me. I'm sorry. I don't really remember. I have been in Moto Bistro about 4 or 5 times. I used to go there with a guy by the name of Roger, who's stuck over in England. But yeah, we probably have crossed paths at Moto Bistro. I used to go there and get a burger every once in a while. When I talked to him, I ran into the guy that owns that place. Matter of fact, I ran into him at Gecko with his wife, and we got to talking. He's going to open up again. He's just waiting for everything to clear before he opens back up again. And I'll be glad, because I used to like to go over there and just sit and listen to the music. He's a nice guy, really nice guy. But I think until everything's solid, I don't think he's going to open back up. My wife said she went by and saw a for sale sign on it, but I don't remember seeing that. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But I enjoyed that place. It was nice. Let's see what the next one is. Great.
Sorry, guys. I was having all kinds of technical difficulties.
That's all right.
The echo, just everything's kind of crazy. I haven't done a live stream in like forever.
With me,
So I'd like to answer that one, Bill. Can I answer that?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, when I landed in Singapore, I had a house, a 4-bedroom house in Weston, Massachusetts, a car, and all the accoutrements to go along with that lifestyle. It took me 4 years. Get my hand in the middle there. It took me 4 years to unload all that stuff. I decided that I was going to stay in Asia. And, at the time, the real estate market was crappy, and it took a long time to unload the house and just other stuff. It was 4 years before I got rid of everything, and I managed to get some other stuff over here with me. Well, 6 years ago, I rented this big giant house that I'm living in now. I had a purpose for it, but I'm filling it up again. I'm accumulating more stuff. It's like we just tend to accumulate stuff. I think Greenie mentioned it earlier too. You get stuff, stuff follows you around. I not only have stuff, I have a house full of people. I have my girlfriend. She has 3 children and cousins and a sister living with us now. I think I have 8 people.
You got your own commune over there.
Yeah. It's like we were
You
all
could
wearing.
start a hotel. You could start a hotel over there.
Actually, we were talking about the rain earlier. I have another sister. I think she's going home tonight, but she had to come here because her street was flooded. So I had her and her infant daughter, which I like. I have a 4-bedroom house. I rented it because I used to teach yoga and I wanted a big place for a yoga studio. And that's why, as a matter of fact, I'm sitting in what used to be the yoga studio. It's now for other stuff. But I had to close the yoga studio down for COVID. But that's why I got the big house. And it was like that old Kevin Costner baseball movie. It was like, build it and they will come. Well, I rented this place and I filled it up with Thai people. I'm kind of loving it. It's given a lot of meaning for my life.
Never get lonely that way.
No. There's no way
Never
you
have
can
a
be
quiet
lonely.
moment.
No way.
Yeah.
I don't see how you get out the front door without running into 5 people.
It's funny how this house is so big. It does absorb them. But at least once a day we're all down in the living room to eat. And just
So funny.
put out food and everybody comes out of their little cubby holes.
Do you guys do a lot of those like massive meals where you're bringing stuff in and you have like 20 different types of foods and everybody's just, like Thai style? Do you guys do a lot of dining like that, or do you mostly go out, or how do you do it, Charlie?
No, we don't go out very often at all. My girlfriend is like really frugal. She was a country girl. She grew up on a farm in the country, and she just has frugality wired into her skull. I mean, she's been living here since she's 18, and she's going to be 40 next month. So you do the math, and she won't spend a baht if she doesn't have to. So, she's not a go out and eat kind of person, and she's a good mom. She takes care of her kids, and so yeah, we have those kinds of meals. She has something which I really love. Is like when I said, wow, this is really cool. She can get on a telephone and have a motorcycle taxi guy deliver anything.
Mm-hmm.
The Line app.
My wife
got the Line
thing.
app.
Yeah, but
for us
on Line apps, Line and Grab are good. And I don't want to knock
Line
them all,
and Grab.
but she doesn't go that way. She uses the She gets to know the motorcycle taxi guys personally. We have a stand not too far away from it, and she's trained them. She tells them what to go get and what to go buy. I mean, they showed up with ice cream cake one night. I said, the guy on the motorcycle went and got that for you? Yes, yeah, it was somebody's birthday. So,
He's got it made.
But we do have those big Thai style dinners occasionally. We had one tonight just before I was signing on here because we just have a bunch of people in the house. We have the sister that whose house got flooded. So she's been here for 2 nights with her infant and her 20-year-old. And plus the mob that I have normally coming and going in here. So we were all sitting around for that. And I love that. I really do enjoy that. It's kind of fun. I get to practice my Thai. None of them understand me except for Buka, my girlfriend. I understand her English. She understands my Thai, but nobody else does.
Right.
How is the rainy season this year? My favorite time of year for running in Chiang Mai. Rainy season has been nice this year. We welcomed it. And it's my favorite time of year, too, because the air clears. you know, sure, you go out, you get wet, you know, you go out on your motorcycle, you might get drenched, you might not, but it's my favorite time of year too. This year we're getting a lot of rain. You know, matter of fact, it just stopped raining here now, but it's my favorite time of year as well. And that's usually the time we try to travel too, because a lot of the places are not, you know, it's kind of the off season and we get good rates, and, you know, we'll go to the beach and there's not a lot of people there, which is good. But rainy season is one of my favorite times of year.
I've been this like Bang Sray little area over here. Like it rained 2 days ago, but the last 2 days I've been out at the pool. It's been sunny and
Yeah.
nice, and it's for whatever reason we miss a lot of the storms. They hit Bangkok, they go up north, but for whatever reason, this area, you know, around the Gulf where I am, it seems like we miss a lot of the storms. So two summers here in a row, and it hasn't been bad at all. I mean, you get the occasional storm, but nothing like what I thought it was going to be.
What do you know about? I don't know anything about Tok Province. I do know of one foreigner that does live down in there. As a matter of fact, he's got a channel. Gosh, I can't think of his name right now. But just about any province here is there's no place here that's not friendly. Have you ever been any place where they weren't friendly to you? Either one of you two guys? Any place you didn't feel welcome?
I hear the I don't know, what is it, Patini or something. The three provinces all the way to the south near Malaysia.
Yeah, that's the only place.
There's a lot more bombings and different things, terrorism that takes place that you just won't hear about. But somebody was talking to somebody that's in law enforcement down there, you know, in one of those provinces down there, and it, you know, not that they'd even aim it towards us. You know, it's a Malaysian Muslim Thai thing. It really wouldn't involve us, but you could get caught in the crossfire. But I've never been to a place where the people weren't friendly. Even when I went all the way up near past Pai, we went to the border right near Burma and had lunch, and they said they barely ever see a Farang up there, but they were so nice and took us into their house to show it to us and gave us fruit. I mean, it was just really, really welcoming people. I mean, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't think there's any place here in Thailand where you wouldn't feel welcome, other than about 3 or 4 provinces in the south where you'd be welcome, but your safety might be a factor.
Right.
And
right.
that's true for just about any Thai person, not just, you know, just not expats as well.
Right. Yeah.
Anyone. Yeah, it is.
Yes, I've had that too.
How
Hey, Bill, move up to the mic.
Okay,
How
can't
do
hear me.
you
Let me put it in
import-
front of me. I've been trying to get better in.
Oh,
Let me move over
I
a
can-
little bit.
So this.
Is that
Talking
better?
about doing your taxes here, Will?
It's kind of
Jeff?
awkward for me because I had my camera set up over there and it went dead, so I had to switch to that camera. So I had to move things around a little bit, but let me see if I can do any better. If you retire here, they say that within the first 6 months that you can bring a load of personal belongings in, tax-free. Now, I don't know of anybody that's actually got anything in tax-free. Now, when I came, I shipped over 4 boxes and a bicycle, and I shipped them through on my wife's name, and we didn't pay anything on it. But you're supposed to if you send it within the first 6 months of getting in the country, it's supposed to be no taxes or or any tariff on it. Now, if you have something shipped in after, sometimes you pay dearly. You know, it's just one of the things.
In my last trip back, I ran into a pretty good sale at a Coach outlet store back in New York. So I bought.
Yeah, I told you might get tagged, but you didn't.
No, what happened is I looked it up because I don't like playing games with that. Whatever the rules were, I wanted to follow it. And they will allow you for $800 in personal items without question. Nobody stopped me anyway. I've been in and out of that gate so many times, and nobody's ever, checked my bags. But nonetheless, it was legal to buy. I think the total cost for what I bought was about $600. So I was under the limit of what they wanted to tax.
I was thinking about that because when I was just in the Philippines, I bought this camera, the camera that I'm using right now, this new Sony, and it was about $800. And I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, I'm not saying nothing because I bought it for personal use, and it says right on the box, made in Thailand. So if they're going to give me a hard time, I was going to be like, I couldn't even find it in the store in Thailand, but look, it's made in Thailand. But they,
Yeah.
I've never had anybody ask me any questions
Yeah.
about it. I mean, if you were bringing some bulk items in, or maybe if they X-ray your big suitcase, but I just had it in my carry-on bag. I wasn't too worried about it.
That's the
Yeah,
best way to bring things in.
They're not seeking to nab personal items. What they're looking for are people who are bringing stuff in to resell. So if
Yeah.
you were doing that, that's what you have to watch for.
Yeah.
I think they got to watch if people come in from China with like 8 bags.
Right. Yeah.
Question: do you think they will change the rules again? I want to come. I don't think anything will make them change the rules back. They've kind of crossed over that bridge, and they saw the damage that it did by the rules that they had, and the problems that they had in the country. And I don't think they'll find a way to work with it. I wouldn't hesitate planning the trip back here in January. I don't think anything will change. I think it'll just loosen up more just like it has. Canada is trying to penalize people who stay out of Canada for more than 6 months a year. If I retire, do I have to do 6-month thing? That I don't know. I know a lot of British guys that are having a problem right now. I'm not sure about Canada. I haven't heard of anybody from Canada having that problem, so I don't know.
Just drop off your passport on your way out.
Yeah.
Oh no, you'll probably need it to
Now,
get into Thailand.
some of the British guys have that I know, the government doesn't know they're here, and they go back and they'll go back every 8 or 9 months and go to the doctor and come back with a bunch of medication. But I don't know about Canada.
Yeah, that's an issue I never heard of. I mean,
Some of them are like that. Yeah.
the only mail I get here is from the tax people, the IRS in the States.
Yeah, I get it too. They know I'm here.
They don't care.
Yeah, we are hoarders, that's for sure. Let's see. Oh, okay. Appreciate it. Try to put these up. Things that you
Owning you, yeah.
That's true. More crap to.
bit of WD-40 on that chair. Wouldn't go in there. Is that you or me?
That's probably me. Let me see. Let me get into one spot.
Oh, okay. Your chair's going to break. That's
All
funny.
right.
Do we have a time frame for? No, not really. When we get tired, I think we'll leave. Just whenever we get worn out. Might be an hour, might be an hour and a half. Who knows?
How long have we been doing this? Do you have a clock on?
52 minutes.
All right. 8 more
Yes,
minutes.
you can get CBD oil here. I don't know. I think the oil is supposed to be what, 2.5% or something like that. I don't really know. I'm not into that stuff, so I can't really tell you. But I see ads for it all the time.
Yeah, that oil is not really supposed to have any of that. It's the THC content, and who knows what's going on. The police. I just read an article that the police seized 200 kilos of marijuana.
Yeah.
But now they're saying they don't know if it's legal or not. They may have to give it back, or they don't.
I heard
know
they
what
had
they're
to give
supposed
some
do
of
with
it back.
you know?
I heard they did give some of it back.
It's like I don't know. The police are not. Nobody's clear on the law here. Nobody's clear on how legal
was
it is.
Yeah, this was a legalization. Is like the cart before the horse. You know, they didn't think it out well, but it's going to work out. It'll just take some time. Somebody's asking you how married life is, Greenie.
Pretty much the same as shacking up life. I don't know. Nothing's really changed except for, at some point in time, I'm going to have to get some paperwork together so I can take her on a trip there to meet the family and stuff. So that's what, it's just, I looked into it. I don't know, like just the application's almost $600 to start the process. So eventually I might do that. That's the only thing I've really looked into right now. I got to get her a tax ID number too. I'll do that eventually too. But other than that, it's just everything's the same.
So I'd like to ask if it's easier to go to an agent to get a retirement visa than going direct to immigration office. You do not need the proof of your savings. You need proof of your savings whether you go through an agent or not.
Just some agents are a little unscrupulous.
Yeah, there's some
And,
shady ones here that will, for a lot of money will get you through. But I would suggest doing it the right way.
And if you do it the wrong way, which many people do, they had a big bust in Chomtian. A group of Russian folks were doing that, and their office got seized. They must not have paid the right people or whatever. And if you're one of the people that went through some service that's not doing their end of the bargain, it could come back and they could come looking for you. And I wouldn't risk it. But if you don't have the money and what do you got to lose anyways? You wouldn't be here anyways. So I could see
advice,
it both ways.
Yeah, the advice I give everybody is that if you don't have the funds to come to Thailand, the worst thing you can do is come here, because you can get in a trick real easy. If I did not have a steady income that was rock solid every month, a certain amount of dollars that I knew I could live on, I'd never come here. I would have stayed back in the States and got on welfare or something like that. But really, to come here and retire here, the amount of money that they want you to have, you need to have it, because, if you get sick or something like that, you're in a world of hurt. They're not going to treat you for free. And, it's just, they have those regulations for a reason. And like I said, I'll say this again, I recommend this highly, that if you don't have enough money to take care of yourself and live here, and you have to rely on income from within the country, then you're gonna end up with problems. Yeah, you're right. They check mine every month or every year. I have to show it.
Hey, there's something you have to know about that too. I just did my 5th renewal. I do the method where I show them a monthly income. I have to transfer 65,000 baht, which at the current rate is a little over $1,800 a month, into a Thai bank. And it has to be done through the SWIFT system. Now, I know Bill uses this, what's the name of that thing that you use?
I use Wise Transfer.
Wise.
Right, yeah. Which is a little bit cheaper. But there have been issues with that in the past, because what they check for, you have to bring. I have to bring a printout from Bangkok Bank. That's the bank that I send my money to, and I have to bring that printout in. And they very carefully go in month by month, and they're just pedantic. It's very bureaucratic. It's like the motor vehicle department. You have to have what they're looking for, and if within that month period on the printout, I have at least 65,000 baht of US dollars transferred in, that I'm golden. This was the first time I had no issues. I was done in 3 hours. Prior to this, there was always some kind of headache, but they do work with you. I go to Chiang Mai is the name of the place here in Bangkok, where the immigration center, and I don't think they're corrupt there. I see no signs of corruption. If they are, they keep it hidden. I understand some of the other places around the country in the smaller offices have a little more wiggle room for funny stuff, if that's your intent. But here, I'm above board. I have an income that gets me a legal visa, and but it has to be within that 1 month period, and has to transfer in US dollars. Have to transfer in. I mistakenly converted 1 month to baht in New York, my New York bank, and they sent baht in. They wouldn't accept that. And it was like, it took all afternoon to get it resolved, because that's what they're looking for. The Thai banking system, I have a kind of finance head. The Thai banking system has been very good at circling their wagons around Thailand. If you want to get money in or out of Thailand, it has to go through this very strict banking system. That's why that thrift system, or whatever it is that you're using, is sometimes problematic with them. They want money coming in through the big SWIFT system from, sending English pounds or Australian dollars or US dollars into Thailand. They're looking to build their current account balance, is what it's.
They're very particular. I mean, they want your T's crossed and your I's dotted. I mean, they go through that stuff.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't use an agent to do it yourself. They really sit down and look through that stuff.
The maximum, the minimum amount required is, on a retirement visa, is 800,000 baht in the bank, or a viable income of 65,000 baht a month coming in from outside the country. That's for a retirement visa. For a marriage visa, it's 400,000 baht in the bank or 40,000 a month coming in from, and you have to be able to establish that it's coming from outside the country. Because what people were doing were, in the past, they were taking 40,000 and moving it over to another account and moving it back into the account. They were shifting it back and forth, and immigration got wise about it. Now, at one time, us Americans and some of the other countries, like I know Canada was like that, the Dutch, we just went to our embassy and swore on an affidavit that we had that much income for a month, and that's all we had to take to immigration. Well, when they stopped that, a lot of people had to leave the country, and now they make us bring our bank statements in, our bank books, and we have to show where the money comes from, where it goes in, and
you got to get a letter from the bank too. I mean, it has to be certified.
A statement from the
copies from
bank.
your computer. Yeah, I mean,
It's a pain in the butt. I start about a month ahead of time. It's really bad.
I'm my visa's good through next March.
Yeah.
You know, then I have to extend it. Somebody made a comment, is it a retirement visa? Well, it does say OA retirement, you know, in my passport, but it is a non-immigrant visa. And now they're saying this fall, maybe they'll have this 10-year retirement visa done. They keep changing the parameters on that. So, you know, one week I look at it, I'm like, oh, maybe I can qualify for that. The next week, oh, I'm not going to be able to qualify for that. So I'm going to look at that, and hopefully that'll be an option next March. You know, if I can get a 10-year visa, I'd be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, 10-year visa costs you a lot of money, though.
I think it's going to be about $2,000, maybe less.
Yeah, I don't know.
60.
I had
like
heard
50,000 baht, I think.
Yeah, I heard that the Aussie pensions were going to be reduced, and I know a lot of people are upset about that. The immigration, yeah, they're real sticklers up there now. You've got to have every dot and every I crossed. I knew one lady who 1 month she had her money sent in monthly, 65,000 baht. In 1 month, she was 100 baht short because her son messed up, and it cost her dearly. I think it ended up costing her about 20,000 baht to get that fixed. And that was just for 1 month. That's how sticky they're getting.
You want to come and say hi?
I don't know on the elite visa. I think Greeny was just talking about that.
The elite visa. I just looked into the elite visa, and I was considering it because there are 3 different levels on the elite visa. I'm looking at my fingers in my reflection here. There's a 5-year elite visa, or 10-year elite, and I think a 20-year elite visa. And I forget the prices on the last 2, but the 5-year elite visa, I think they wanted $5,000 for. In which case, is that right, Greeny? Is it more? It's higher.
It's like 600,000 baht for the 5-year, and then you can extend it to the 20-year. You can wait to the end and pay 400,000 more and extend it. Now there's 3 tiers of the elite visa. Some come with more options with golfing and memberships to country clubs, and there's just, you know, the platinum or whatever, the best one, you know, you're like, this is, you know, very rich people that are getting that. You know, my friend Chris, I just did that video where he took me on a trip with him. He has an elite visa, and I got the whole treatment for 1 day to see what it was like. And then I interviewed him, and he went through, you know, everything about it, you know, all the parameters, everything that he had to do. And yeah, so it's about 600,000 baht initially. That's for 5 years. And then you can extend it anytime during that process. But the difference is, if you're in the 5-year, they have, like, he's getting picked up and dropped off at the airports every time he travels. He gets like 25 trips like that a year. But then once you go into that 20-year, you don't get some of those options. So, you know, it's better to wait till like the last few months to extend it. So that's his plan. But, you know, I did that whole video and he explained a lot. But yeah, 5,000, no, it's way more than that.
The thing, I did watch that video, and what I found interesting is all those amenities that you had. And what did they pick you up with an AOT taxi, which is, I think, a BMW in your case, and then you get priority boarding, and you get to go to the front of the line. Well, I get all that with business class. When I fly to the States, I always fly business class because I would slit my wrist and coach. So I save my money up for the 2 times a year that I go back there to the States, and I fly business class, and I get all of those amenities except for the car. But you can get the same car for like $1,200. You know, you can call.
Well, no, it's definitely more cost effective that way. But
Yeah,
if you just don't want to, if you have the money laying around and it's not, you know, to get that.
If you want, probably, yeah.
Chris said he's met other people in the program, and he's probably, you know, the least typical person you would find. I mean, he, you know, doesn't have that. I mean, he's got decent money, retired from a good job, but you know, most of these people that are in that program just have money to burn. So it's just, you know, it's a status thing. It's a have money to burn thing. It's a, you know, just a way to make life easy. If you can afford it, I wouldn't do it. But it was nice. I enjoyed that.
Let me give you your guys' channel names. I'm going to put them in the description of the video after it loads up. But Charlie's channel is Travel with Charlie Hub. Greenie's, right? It Travels with Charlie Hub, and Greenie's is Greenie's Travels, right?
No,
Greenie Travels. What is it?
Yeah, Greenie Travels with the Y. Greenie
Travels. But both their channels will be in the description when I get done. I should have put that in before, but I wasn't sure both of y'all guys were going to show up. So you're still trying to check this freeze date. Yeah. I'm assuming I carry. I don't know. I know that I do have some Australian friends that are a little bit concerned about their pensions are going to be frozen. You know, I don't know. It's kind of rough. I hope they don't do it to us. You know, I don't see that.
When you're saying their pension, is that like our Social Security, like something that everybody gets at a certain age?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, whatever their pensions are, they're not increasing them, and that's to me that doesn't seem fair. It doesn't. You know, it's just like, you know, my feelings about Social Security and Medicare. Because I chose to live outside the country, all the money that I paid into Medicare, I might as well just throw it out the window, tear it up, you know, because we can't use it here. You know, I don't think that's fair, but there's nothing we can do about it. And, you know, maybe they'll change the law one day. I doubt very seriously that they do. You know, the thing about it is, and you know, the veterans, they have a system built in where they can, you know, if they're on veterans benefits, they can get treatment over here. I think it's something called TRICARE or something like that they use. And I know several of them that get medical benefits here, but us on Social Security, we're stuck. You know, they get my money. It's life.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's even going to work. I have that one insurance now, and then when I get 65 or whatever, it's going to change to that. But I'm not sure if I'm out of the country, will my other insurance still cover the difference or whatever Medicare doesn't cover? I don't know how it's going to be. So
no,
Medicare
Medicare
does not cover anything out of the United States.
No, and you can't even get it.
But my insurance supposedly covers anything over and above. So does that mean if I'm out here and they don't cover anything, is my insurance going to cover everything? Or they're going to say, well, no, you should have taken care of that in America.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't know. That'd be a good question to ask. You know, one of the things that I ran into when I turned 65 is the option to take Plan B. And I had been told by somebody that if you were outside the country, when you come back inside the country, you can buy Plan B and not be penalized. When I checked with Medicare after, you know, I turned 65, and they said no. The only way that I wouldn't be penalized if I was doing some kind of volunteer work here and came back into the country. Now, if I go back to the States now and get on Medicare and want to take Plan B or Plan C or something like that, you get a hell of a penalty. It's like 10% for every year that you're off. And it's not worthwhile. You know, I sat and figured it out. If something happens to me here, it's cheaper for me to have it taken care of here than it is to go back to the States and try to go under Medicare. You know, so that's just and now I've got decent insurance, so I don't even worry about it. I don't pay that much for it. Thankfully, I have a good insurance company pension, but it would be nice to be able to know what's ahead. Yeah, we'd all like to know what's ahead.
Let me get my crystal ball.
And coming to Thailand on an education visa. Thai government have problem with people doing medical evaluations and sightseeing while on a. Yeah, you can't work here in Thailand. You're basically, if you're coming here on an educational visa, you can't work. That's just the way it is.
You can sightsee though. You can sightsee though.
Yeah, and if you're the
you
one
can
being
sightsee, but you can't
evaluated,
take
there's
somebody
nothing.
sightseeing and charge them for it. Yeah,
Oh,
you can
yeah,
do some. You can do some sightseeing while you're on an educational visa. Let me tell you something. The educational visas, the volunteer visas, they're pretty much, you just go in and pay somebody some money, and they say you're volunteering for them, and that's the end of it.
The education is a little tougher though, because now they're requiring you have to take tests, and if they really watch your progress. I know a guy in Bangkok right now that's doing language, and they're really, if he falls behind, when he goes for a 3-month check or whatever with immigration, they'll boot him. That's what I heard.
Yeah. I heard a story one time of a guy that was here on an educational visa, and he was studying Thai, and he'd been here for about 3 years, and he went in to do his renewal, and the immigration officer started talking to him in Thai, and he couldn't understand a word he was saying, and they sent him back. They said, "You haven't been going to school." He couldn't just. He'd been there 3 years on an educational visa studying Thai, couldn't speak a word of Thai, and he didn't get very far. But who knows? It's much better to do things right. Hey there, buddy. How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in.
I think it's time for me to sign off now.
Yeah, we're pretty much getting down to the end of it. I'm getting a little worn out, and
come on, guys. I'm just getting going.
You're just getting going. We'll do it again next week. 36.63 exchange right now, U.S. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
My Barstool
Absolutely
rumor
crazy.
is if it hits 40, I'm going to try to bring as much money over here as I can. I can't see getting that much higher than 40. I'm guessing like 38, but I don't know.
Yeah, dental work and medical evaluation. Yeah, you wouldn't have any problem with that.
You can get it done.
As far as you're
Good
talking
idea.
about for yourself. Yeah, that would be no problem.
Getting back to that guy with the U.S. inflation and the exchange rate, what's happening is every time, because of inflation in the United States, the Federal Reserve is raising interest rates. So what that does, and I don't quite understand why this happens, but what that does, if a central bank raises interest rates, it makes the value of their currency higher on the foreign exchange. So that's really what's driving this difference now between the Thai baht and the U.S. dollar. There may be other factors involved, but that's the main driver of it. And for me, what it's done is I think the Thai baht has gone down about 14% over the last year in value, meaning the money that I bring in from the United States is worth 14% more than it used to be. That's the way
Right now.
Yeah, right now, which is a little confusing,
Yeah.
but I look at it, it was a hedge on inflation. Everybody's crying about, the 5% inflation here in Thailand is about 5%, which I know is lower than the States.
Well, you guys doing that
money is worth 14% more.
Right.
I got myself a raise.
And you guys doing that monthly thing, it's worked out good. I put my money in when I had put my money in the bank here, it was $29.88 or something like that. Was so my money is worth like $4,000 less than what it was when I put in the account.
Yeah.
My condo, it was $32.88 was the Thai baht to the U.S. dollar when I bought that. However, most people when they go to buy and sell a condo and they're kind of trying to judge the price, they're basing it on what they paid in their currency and what they would sell it for. Kind of, they kind of figure that in, from what I understand.
As far as living on a monthly budget, we live on a monthly budget. We live comfortably. The 40. If you're talking about the 40,000 baht a month that they tell you to bring in, that's really kind of low. It's kind of hard to live a good, comfortable life on that. You know, I recommend anybody that's coming here should at least have an income of, you know, 60,000 baht a month coming in to live decent. You know,
Yeah, at
just-
least.
and that gives you a good buffer.
Even that's low.
I think if you
know.
could
Well,
bring,
I'm not feeding 6 people though. I'm just feeding 3, actually 2, but I count my wife as twice.
if you
Yeah,
could
but
bring
very-
3 over, you could live very comfortably. I mean,
All right, let's get back to that saying goodnight thing we were doing. I think because it's I got to run here.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks for stopping in. We'll see you later.
All right.
see you later,
I'll take
Charlie.
you out.
Let's do this
We'll
again
see
next
about
week. Next week
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
talk
do it
about
again
women.
next week.
Yeah, we'll
we'll
talk
try.
about women.
You can talk about your woman. I'm not talking about mine. I gotta go to bed tonight.
Yeah, she's just off camera.
I'll see you later, Charlie. Thanks for stopping in.
See ya.
Oh, just got back home to Australia after visiting Chiang Mai for the first time, spending a week here. Yeah, it's a nice place. I love living here. I really enjoy it. And well, Greenie, that's the last question, so I guess we'll close out. Hey, I appreciate you coming in. We'll do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it again. I'll, this was, if you guys don't know that are still on here, he just told me, you know, like an hour before, and I have the camera. I've never set up a camera on my PC like this. It's like I've been moving stuff around, so that's why I'm a mess. But next time, I'm going to have the color grade right. I'm going to have everything perfect for you guys.
We'll be professionals. This is the first time I've done a live stream, so, you know, I'm kind of new.
Come on, Bill.
learning
You
on
got
it,
your
too.
microphone. You look like a pro there.
Hell, I spent a fortune on this shit. I kept
Yeah?
trying stuff and it wouldn't work, so I just kept buying stuff until I got it working. But
How does this sound with my little,
it sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd probably be better if it was up here underneath your thing, though.
Yeah, I had it like that at first. Did that sound all right? It sounds better.
Yeah, that's a little
I
bit
just didn't
better,
want
a
to
little
be
bit
loud
clearer.
and blow you guys out.
No. Those mics, and I've got something similar to that, and you pretty much have to wear them on close to your chin. I think it takes
Yeah.
your voice from down in here. But
Okay.
anyway, hey, I appreciate everybody
All right.
checking in, and as far as I know, we'll do it again next week. And everybody subscribe to Greenie's channel and Charlie's channel. They both have good channels, and they work real hard. But anyway, we'll see you all
Okay.
next week. Thanks for coming.
All right. Take it easy, guys.